Hi there, I'm Christopher Crabb. I'm the next guest on Screen and Beyond.
On Screen and Beyond, an inside look into the entertainment world featuring interviews with people from the movie, TV, and music industry, news on upcoming TV and DVD releases, and the rumor mill. And now, here's the host of On Screen and Beyond, Brian Zemrak.
Welcome, and thank you for joining me for another edition of On Screen and Beyond. This is episode 754, and I'm your host, Brian Zemrak, and this is the show that brings you a celebrity guest each week from the movie, TV, or music industry, as well as keeping you updated on what's coming your way as far as remakes, sequels, prequels, upcoming new movies, movie and TV, DVD releases, and, of course, the rumor mill. And this week, we have Christopher Crabb, who starred on the Disney Channel on Danger Bay, and he went on to become a tennis pro, a coach, and everything else, and he'll be co-starring on the new CBS show Sheriff Country. And Christopher will be joining us shortly, so get ready for his story right here. Well, as promised, I said last week's show, I told you that we'd have a quick turnaround and an episode coming right at you, and here it is. And speaking of our last episode, we had Brendan Roth, who was on Arrow, DC Legends of Tomorrow, so much more. And of course, as Superman in 2006, Superman's Return, and as well as his new comedy out now called Out of Order. Be sure to check that one out and listen to that episode. It was a fun one. And don't forget, you can catch all my past episodes of On Screen and Beyond, over 750 of them, all those guests, most on audio podcasts, but this past year we started doing the video and the audio, and the video versions are on Spotify and on YouTube, and of course the audio versions are on Apple Podcasts, and it's even, on your Alexa. All you got to do is say, "Hey, Alexa, play On Screen and Beyond podcast." It'll come up. So a lot of ways to get it, and be sure to follow On Screen and Beyond on Instagram and Facebook. X, I keep trying to get back on it, but I just haven't had a chance. Well, we have a full slate of entertainment news coming your way, so let's get right into it. It's time for remakes, sequels, and prequels on Screen and Beyond.
Please hang up and try again.
Remake, sequels, and prequels. Zootopia 2 will be in theaters on November 27th. And it looks like December 4th, look for Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Avatar, Fire and Ash will storm into theaters on December 18th. SpongeBob returns to theaters on December 18th also with the SpongeBob movie, Search for SquarePants. And The Mandalorian and Grogu will fly into theaters on May 22nd, 2026. And that's it for remakes, sequels, and prequels. Next, it's upcoming new movies. Upcoming new movies, Leonardo DiCaprio's production company is developing a biopic on the early life of Bela Lugosi, who starred in Dracula in the classic Universal film in 1931. Emma Roberts will star in a film version of the best-selling novel Expiration Dates for Amazon MGM Studios, and it looks like Ed Helms has joined the cast of The Stunt Driver, and that's a comedy currently in production. It's based on the true story of the stunt driver, the Mad Canadian, who in the 1970s tried to jump the St. Lawrence River in a rocket car. And that's it for upcoming new movies. It's time to take a look at movies and TV on DVD and streaming. Movies and TV on DVD and streaming on December 12th. You can look for A Big, Bold, Beautiful Journey with Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell to land on digital and Blu-ray. November 25th, The Long Walk with Mark Hamill strolls onto DVD, Blu-ray, and 4K. And The Gilded Age, the complete third season, comes to DVD on December 2nd. And The Handmaid's Tale Season 6 makes its DVD premiere also on December 2nd. And that's it for movies and TV on DVD and streaming. It's time now for TV and entertainment time. TV and entertainment time. Lisa Ann Walker of Abbott Elementary will be having a stand-up comedy special on Hulu in 2026. And October 26th, get ready to get scared as It, Welcome to Derry, comes your way on HBO Max. It, of course, is based on the 1986 Stephen King novel It. And the executive producers of The Gilded Age and Just Like That will write and executive produce the Davenport series for Prime Video based on the best-selling novel set in 1910s America. And that's it for TV and entertainment time. Christopher Crabb of Danger Bay, tennis pro, and guest starring on Sheriff Country is next, right here on Screen and Beyond. Our guest today on Screen and Beyond played the role of Tiny Tim on An American Christmas Carol with Henry Winkler. For years in the 80s, he was Jonah Roberts on Danger Bay on the Disney Channel. He is a professional tennis pro who has taught tennis to George Clooney, Steve Carell, Robert Downey Jr., and more. And now he is guest starring on the new CBS show, Sheriff Country. It's Christopher Crabb. Christopher, welcome to On Screen and Beyond.
Oh, man, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And, looking back at your career, think all the things you've done, it's like, okay, who is Christopher Crabb? Is he a tennis guy? Is he an actor? What is he, Christopher?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I've been very fortunate. I started playing tennis. I was hitting against my garage when I was probably 4 or 5 years old. And my whole family were my mom was a Broadway dancer who went to Juilliard, and my dad was an opera singer. And my brothers were also actors before me. And I was just kind of like, I think I'm supposed to do this. I didn't know if there was any choices in the matter, really. But no, I wanted to. In reality, I wanted to. And the acting was tough at the start. I started acting when I was 7, 8 years old, but I wasn't acting at all because I wasn't getting any parts. It was really frustrating. And I was auditioning for a lot of commercials back in Canada. I'm from Toronto. And it just kind of wasn't happening. And then finally, I got a commercial, and then everything started happening for me where I got lots of commercials. And then I got my first big thing, which you mentioned, was A Christmas Carol, An American Christmas Carol with Henry Winkler, which, I mean, at the time, the Fonz was the Fonz. And I'm 9 years old, and I walk in, and there's the Fonz, except he played the character. They did makeup for him to be older, and when I first met him, he was in the older makeup. But of course, I recognized him immediately. It made it almost even cooler. Like, there's the Fonz in makeup, looking like he's 80 years old, and he was a wonderful man and so sweet to us. And so that was an incredible experience. And at the same time, yeah, I started playing tennis about 5 hours a day when I was around 8, 9 years old. And my family went down to Florida. There was a famous tennis academy at that time called Nick Bollettieri's Tennis Academy, which tennis people will know. And so went down there and had good success with my tennis. For tennis people, Jim Courier, who was #1 in the world in the early 90s, he and I played a lot throughout the juniors. And I had, luckily, good success with him. I beat him most of the time we played it. And
that's always good when you beat somebody.
Yeah, it's funny. Jim and I, every time then we'll bump into each other, and he'll kind of like, yeah, you used to beat me back then. Or it's funny. I met John McEnroe recently, and he and I were talking, and he said, so I know you played a lot and blah blah blah. And I said, yeah. I said, Jim and I played a lot. I said, actually, never beat Jim. I never lost to Jim. And McEnroe looks at me and goes, yeah, in the juniors. And I'm like, you're right, John. Yes, it was the junior. And I said, hey, I was doing a TV series for half that time, so give me a break. McEnroe was awesome. So yeah, I was fortunate. I was going back and forth, getting acting parts and playing tennis, and I loved them both. And then I got the TV series that I did when I was 14, and that went 14 to 20, was 6 years, and that was an incredible experience. And through that whole time, I was playing as much tennis as I could while I was doing the show. And in the off season, we'd shoot for 6 months. I would request to my agent, say, don't send me out for anything. I need to do my tennis. So I would play double down on tennis and play as much as I could. And when I was 16, between seasons, I turned pro and I went and played pro tournaments around the world. And it was all good. Very, very fortunate. Very.
You are the second tennis player that I've had on. The first guy I had on was somebody you might know, Stan Smith.
Never heard of him. I mean, maybe I am wearing his shoes though right now. I love that all the kids wear his shoes and they have no idea.
Right, exactly.
I tell my kids, you know, that's Stan. Was that today, Stan Smith? Or
no. This was a year or two ago.
Oh, that must have been cool.
Yeah, it was something to have him on.
Yeah, what a career! Wow.
So you are the second one I've had here, a tennis pro.
That's some pretty elite company to be in. Wow, some pressure on me now.
So now was it like? I mean, when you were on Danger Bay, were you? I mean, you're in the water a lot of times on that show. So were you on the back lot waiting and hitting the tennis ball while everybody's out on the boat or what?
You've apparently seen the show. Wow, that's some inside out. So it was cool. I'm from Toronto. We shot the show in Vancouver, and the first season we used to take float planes to the set, and we'd be in planes, land in the middle of, and we'd shoot off of big barges, and yeah, we were in the water all the time, and it was usually freezing cold, and but it was an adventure, man. I mean, here I am at 14 doing this show that's just cool. And when I say it's cool, it wasn't like a cool, edgy show. It was a Disney show. So it was a very family-oriented show, which was cool. But the stuff we got to do, and from being in water, I mean, I could list the animals that I've worked with, and we've been shot up on glaciers, and I've been falling off huge rocks into white water, and had stuntmen for part of it and did part. It was amazing. It's one of those things that one wishes they could go back and do as an adult, where you kind of could even appreciate it more. Because at the time it's amazing, but looking back, you don't quite realize, wow, that's a once in a lifetime, experience. Yeah. But yeah, it was fun. And the actress who we played brother and sister, Ocean Hellman, we're best friends to this day.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, with all the remakes and the returns of old shows that come back, they could do that with Danger Bay and have you guys be the adults now and have your kids or whatever.
That came close to happening
really?
That long ago. Yeah, they did Entertainment Tonight Canada did a thing on all the popular shows throughout Canadian time, and we all got together for it. And the producer had come to Ocean and I to talk about possibly doing that. And it just didn't quite happen, but one never knows, you never say no. Nothing could be more fun than that. I mean, that would be a dream come true.
Yeah. Well, it was a well done show. And it was, like you say, it was a family oriented show because it was Disney and everything, but it was still good. And people enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I appreciate that. I think we could use some more shows like that in this day and age,
Yeah.
A little more family oriented.
Yeah. Now, do they show reruns of that? Or streaming, whatever?
Yeah, they did for probably 15, 20 years. They were rerunning it a lot on Disney and in Canada. And it was also in 72 other countries. So I used to get fan mail from all sorts of crazy places. But now I don't think so. But I think all the episodes are on YouTube, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah. If anyone wants to go back and watch an old Danger Bay.
Yeah, that's cool.
Hey, this is Ted Nugent, and I'm on Screen and Beyond. God bless America.
All right, so then you get into more, I presume, less acting and more tennis after Danger Bay?
Yeah, so when the series ended, I came out to LA and was very happy just to keep acting and working because, kid actors don't always keep working. And so I was happy that I was getting parts. But at the same time, I wasn't one of those. I didn't want to be one of those stereotypical actor kids that spent all their money and was like, well. So for me, I had tennis, and I started teaching right away. I had the car accident that I had when I was 18, which put me out of playing anymore, and I started teaching right away. And one of my early students was Robert Downey Jr., and I coordinated the tennis. Well, again, I was lucky because the two worlds always intersected for me, and they knew that I knew film and movie set because of that, but I also knew tennis, so I was kind of a good choice. So Robert and I started working together. I think I was 22, and it was about a year before Chaplin, but he had the part, and Chaplin was a huge fan of tennis and was on record saying that tennis was his religion. So Robert said to me at one point, he said, of the whole movie, the tennis scene is the thing he was most nervous about. And I went, oh my God, Robert, you're doing an English accent. You're playing Chaplin, the tennis. And he said, yeah, I really want it to be right. And so we worked kind of feverishly for a year, and it was neat. I started him right-handed because I thought, let's get a little feel for the game before I switched him to left-handed, because Chaplin was left-handed. And I started him with modern graphite rackets, again, make it easier. But then I switched him to wood, and then I switched him to left-handed, and he really did well. One advantages we had is tennis now, the modern game, would be harder for an actor to make look good, whereas the older game was a little simpler with the strokes being shorter, and so that made it a little easier for us. But that was Richard Attenborough's there directing it, and there I'm on set with Downey and Kevin Kline. And Kevin Kline did some lessons. He had already played a little bit. He came towards getting closer to shooting, and I worked with him also. I mean, these are just, again, I try to kind of knock on wood and appreciate how fortunate I've been with so many things. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, when you were working with Robert, did you call him Robert, or was it Bob or Bobby or
Robert?
Oh, it was Robert. Yeah.
And this won't probably resonate with most of your listeners because it's kind of so obscure. But I taught him at a house in Beverly Hills, and he had this great Porsche Carrera, and I had back in the day I had a cool white Firebird. And there's a movie, a scene from the movie Against All Odds, where I think it's Jeff Bridges and great actor. It'll come to me in a second. And they do this like street race down Sunset in the movie.
Oh, okay.
Anyway, and Robert looks at me, goes, we were going to go have lunch after us. He goes, should we do the scene from Against All Odds? Because he had the sports car. I was like, yeah, we didn't, of course, do it. But he was just that kind of guy. He was really just kind of down to earth. I actually had an audition. I had an audition for a regular on General Hospital. And I said to him after one of the lessons, I said, would you work with me with it? Work with me. And he's such a fascinating man. He reads it and he looks at me and goes, Christopher, here's who I think this guy is. He's the kind of guy that when he talks to you, he gets too close to you and invades your space and makes you feel very uncomfortable. And I went, how did you get that from this? He's so creative, That was Jimmy Woods was the other. Jimmy Woods.
James. Yes.
And so, first of all, there he is, helping with the scene, but then his take on it, that's always stuck out with me. He's such an interesting actor,
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great. And then at the same time, I was still getting parts and acting as much as I could. And slowly but surely, I think because of that, I ended up teaching other celebrities, and it kind of became a thing that people would talk that I was good at it. And so I ended up slowly but surely ending up with kind of a pretty big celebrity roster of students.
Yeah, I heard there was some guy, probably a lot of people haven't heard of him, George Clooney.
Yeah, he did okay for himself that way.
Yeah. Steve Carell.
Yeah.
Dakota Fanning.
Yes. Ellen Dakota are great. And oh my God, did they pick up tennis, because they were beginners. And they're like mimickers, they're just so, if I could show them something and they could just do it, they're just, I guess, like, they're so talented with their acting and just being able to inhabit. Their strokes were like pro strokes within weeks. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. No one strokes look this good this quickly.
Yeah.
And they're both lovely, lovely young ladies, just lovely.
And it amazes me in actors, not just the playing tennis, but whether it's tennis or boxing or I don't know, you name it, riding a horse even.
Yeah.
They say, "Oh, I've never ridden a horse, but I was in this movie or TV show,"
Yeah.
and they look like,
yeah,
they've been riding for their whole life. It's just incredible how they can pick these things up so quickly.
Yeah, it's true. They're obviously. I will go back to Robert Downey Jr. Of course, the guy can sing too, right? He said to me back in the day, "Go, let me play this song I wrote." And so he's singing and playing piano. I'm like, how talented can one person be? It's crazy, and I think that's kind of common. They are so talented. Yes, they decide they're going to ride a horse. They get good training. They work hard at it, and they look great at it because they're, and all the actors I've worked with, and I would hope someone would say the same about me, is we try as hard as we can to really inhabit and try to be it and live it and feel it. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool. Steve Carell is an interesting person. I was just talking. I taught a really good player, Nancy, and Steve's also very good. He played in I forget the name of the movie. It'll come to me in a second. But he played tennis in the movie, and he's got lovely strokes. And I think people assume, I think I assumed from had seen all his work, that he was going to be this really funny kind of. He's very quiet. He's so sweet. He's a very gentle man, and does not need the center of attention or the light on him at all. When he wants to be funny, he's the funniest person. If he says something funny, you're like, you were the funniest person I've ever. But he's not one of these people that feels the need to try, and he's very relaxed in his own skin. He's a lovely, lovely guy.
Now, Christopher, I'm going to put you on the spot here. Of all the people that you've taught tennis to, who would give you the best round?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, Pete Wentz, who is the lead, writes all the songs, and is the lead bass player or the bass player for the band Fall Out Boy. He and I see each other almost every day for practice. And he and I have become very good friends. And one of the first things we did is they called me from the San Diego Open and said, would you bring a couple of your celebrity students to come play Sabalanca? And so it ended up being Pete and I went, and he played with Sabalanca, and I played with a 15-year-old pro that was trying to become a pro that was from San Diego. And so there we are battling it out, playing with Sabalanca. And then the next year they called us, and I went with, I took Pete again, and Jeff Probst came, and we played against Sinakova, who Sinakova has, if you don't know, because she's not a household name, she's won all 4 Grand Slams. She's won the Olympics, and she won the year-end, which is like off the chart. And so we played with her. And then recently I got a call, not that recently, back in April, I got a call from a gentleman, a lovely guy who said, I'm putting together, I live in Asheville. I was the tournament chairman of the US Open for 15 years. And I want to put together a charity event to raise $1 million for Hurricane Helene charity. And he said, I've already got Agassi, and I have Roddick, and I have Navarro and Paguglia. He said, who can you bring of yours? And I said, let me work on it. So I ended up taking Pete, of course, and Jeff Probst, and Isai Morales, who plays the bad guy in the last 2 Mission Impossible movies. And so we went down and we played with Agassi and thing. We did this whole thing. It was televised on the Tennis Channel. And we raised $1 million for Asheville. And, wow. And lovely. So to get back to round, Pete works on his tennis like someone that's trying to become a pro. And he and I are deeply focused every day on his game. So if I was going to play someone that could be at all competitive, it would be him.
Yeah,
he's gotten very, very good. There's always a pretty big divide between the pros and amateurs, but God, he's working on it. He's working hard.
Wow.
And he's amazing. We're actually we're going to produce a series together that kind of revolves around my teaching all these celebrities and what it means to kind of almost a little like conversations with Jerry Jerry Seinfeld's show where he has conversations when he's getting coffee, I think it is. Because I have all these interesting people, and they all have a serious connection to tennis in one way or the other. And the idea of the show would be to kind of see what tennis means to them and how it's changed and weaved into the world of what they're so amazing at. So that's kind of the thing we're working on, and we're getting there on it. We're excited about it.
Wow.
So yeah,
that
Pete
sounds
and I are tight, and Pete's great.
Hi, this is Dave Thomas on Screen and Beyond.
I want to get into your new show that you're going to be on, but I want to jump back just for a second to Danger Bay.
Okay.
With that show, I presume, or I take it that it was jump physical.
Yeah.
Stunts. I mean, some people did. I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah,
jump in,
no,
but
yeah,
did
no,
you
it-
ever get hurt?
Yeah. Nothing too bad.
Yeah.
The first season, there's an episode where I kind of maybe prefaced it earlier, where we're trying to hunt down these salmon poachers, and I'm way up high on a rock, and the thing is, I slip and I fall into the white water, and it's shooting me around, and I go over the waterfall, and it was a whole great thing. And other than going over the waterfall, I did it all, and it was amazing. I mean, they had so much safety around me with,
sure.
but these were fantastic, things to get to do. And I remember the director saying to me, he was he said, when you see Raiders of the Lost Ark, the thing that sells that great car scene is they have shots of Harrison really doing it. And he's like, that's what we need to do here. And I was like, I'm 14. I'm like, Harrison Ford? Yeah, I'll do it. Of course I'll do it. Coach, go do it now. So, I was there was a lot of stuff like that with Danger Bay. It made it really cool. Really cool.
Sheriff's Country.
Yeah.
First off, do you know when your episode will be going, or is it the first one?
It's the opening episode. I'm in the very first scene of the whole thing is my scene, and it's a very cool scene. I don't want to say, I probably shouldn't say too much. I don't want to give it, but it kind of sets up the action and the intensity of the show. And it was really fun to do. And the lead of the show, Morena, she's an incredible actress. I think recognized from seeing her in Deadpool, and she plays his girlfriend. I remember they had that back and forth, so witty, and she has that energy, and she's sharp. And when we did the read through, we did it like this. We did it on a Zoom. I just kind of watched her work, and I was like, oh my God. Everyone was great, but I was like, oh my God, she's so good. And she's been in a million amazing things. So fortunately, that's the first scene that's kind of, and it's the episodes on the 17th. Not today, I think.
Friday.
2 days. Yeah.
Friday. Yeah. It premieres on Friday.
Yeah. And I believe they put it right off after Fire Country.
Yes. Yeah. Because there's a link there. There's a connection between the two shows.
Yeah, I think they've had her. They already set it up in a couple episodes that she was spinning off onto this show. Yeah. And shooting it in Toronto for me was awesome because that's where I'm from. And to get to go back and shoot there and see my dad, who's 90 years old, and be back there, because I don't get to go back that often. I do go back and forth because I'm a dual citizen, but it was really nice. And it was whenever I go back to the Vancouver or Toronto, it's lovely for me because I'm from Toronto, but I did the series in Vancouver, and I love both the cities.
Like you said, you probably can't tell us too much about what's going on in the
show. I'll say this. So people keep asking me if they might bring my character back, and we're brothers. The whole scene starts about these two brothers. In this episode, this thing happens between the two of them. That's well, I think they show it a little in the teaser. So we've drawn guns on each other, my brother and myself, and I'll kind of leave it at that. It gets pretty intense because we're about to possibly kill each other, and then the sheriff shows up. But one of the kind of cool things is it comes up that her and I dated in high school on the show. So who knows? People are saying, "Do you think they'll ever bring it back?" I go, "I sure hope so." I mean, good. Who do I beg?
Would you like to do
Bruckheimer, if you're watching, Jerry Bruckheimer, bring me back, would you?
Would you like to do another series again, like you did on Danger Bay?
I would love to. That would be kind of full circle for me. It would be, ironically, if it would stop me probably from teaching tennis for at least a chunk of time, which would be a little hard. My students, we've been together a long time. I don't kind of have millions of people going in and out. I have a very kind of standard. So that would be a little sad, but I think they wait for me. I hope they would.
Who would Pete play against?
Exactly, right? My wife teaches. She was a student and got really good. Like Pete, she's gotten great, and she plays in tournaments. And it's always the funny thing, whenever she beats people, they always throw, "Well, it must be nice having a husband who's a tennis pro," and it doesn't hurt, right? It doesn't hurt. But she teaches now also, so she would end up teaching all my students, is what would happen. But it would be very full circle for me to get a chance to do that again as an adult. I've worked through all the years, but never anything like that again. And that would be, I mean, if literally, if I could wave a magic wand, I would. If we could do a reboot in some form of Danger Bay, I could start.
Disney's got to get on that, because I think that would be a big hit
from your lips. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
It would be. I appreciate you saying that. It would be great. The gentleman who played our dad on it passed away a few years back, which was very, very sad for Ocean and I. But again, there has been talks about it. That so you never know. You never know. Yeah.
Well, Christopher, I want to finish up with one final question.
Okay.
But before I do that, they've got to watch the show that you're going to be on, Sheriff Country, and check it out, and go back on YouTube and watch Danger Bay, or hopefully Disney will start putting on streaming again, because it's a good show. So
Sheriff Country, when we did the read through, like I said on the Zoom, I was like, "Oh my God, this show's good," and "Oh my God, it's well written," and "Oh wow," or the regular characters are just like. And so I'm really excited to see the whole episode, and I think it's going to be I mean, they've shot. It's not one of these, they're doing a pilot. They've shot a whole long season. It's a go. So hopefully it's as successful as I think it's going to be.
Yeah.
So excited. Yeah,
that's great. Well, final question.
Yeah. Okay.
Taking us away from tennis.
Yep.
Being on Danger Bay, working with Henry Winkler, George Clooney, and everybody else that you've worked with.
Yeah.
When you sit back and relax, what are your favorite TV shows from the now and from the past? And what's your favorite movies now and of the past? What do you enjoy?
So I don't. Let's go back. My favorite shows from the past. I mean, growing up, Happy Days. And a little shout out. Guess who I teach? I teach Marilyn, Mrs. C's daughter, who is one of the writer producers on Friends and does a million things. Her name's Ellen Kramer. And so I teach her. So yet another little connection to Happy Days there.
Yeah.
But I love growing up. I loved all those great sitcoms like that. As time went on, a show that I loved, and I ended up watching it just in snippets on my phone, but it really, and I happen to know Martin Sheen. I've had a couple of times we've met and we had dinner together. But The West Wing, I watched that and I was like, man, I love this show, and man, I love Martin Sheen. So as shows stick out, I loved The Wire. I was really into that. Love that. Right now, I'm really into reading Stephen King books. And so I'm watching some of his. I'm just finishing Mr. Mercedes, which was the actors. They're so good. And in terms of movies, you have to hand it to Tom Cruise. The last two Mission Impossibles were unbelievable, and Maverick. It's one of those movies I liked it so much I think I'm never going to see it again. I enjoyed it so much I don't want to. And it was right after COVID, where like movies were kind of things. And I feel like you got to give the guy props that he, and I happen to teach Shea Wingham. I teach his whole family. If you know Shea, he plays the FBI agent chasing Tom Cruise in it. And he was in Boardwalk Empire. He's an incredible actor.
Yes.
And so those three movies, just in terms of like movies being back, are amazing. And in terms of one other show that I just watched, which I was blown away by, was Adolescence. I think that was the name of it, where the English boy, and it was shot, I believe, in one take, a lot of it. That show, really, I was impressed by him and the whole thing. Yeah. So yeah, those are kind of what's going on. If you were going to ask me for my whole life, what's my favorite movie, I would say probably tied between Dr. Zhivago and It's a Wonderful Life.
Two good films.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Christopher, I cannot thank you enough for taking the time to share with us, and
Brian,
good luck.
Thank you enough, man. Thank you for your time.
Yeah. Well, good luck with Sheriff's Country, and hopefully get a reboot of Danger Bay or whatever.
Okay. I love it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Brian.
Take care.
You too, man.
And a big thank you going out to Christopher Crabb for joining us here. And be sure to catch him as he guest stars on Sheriff Country on CBS and Paramount Plus. Help get the word out about On Screen and Beyond. Please be sure to tell a friend about us and check out over the past 750 celebrity guests that we've had, and hope you'll enjoy all of those. And thank you for watching or listening. That's a wrap for this episode of On Screen and Beyond. So until next time, when we once again take you on screen and beyond, I'm Brian Zemrak. Take care.